We will be performing an upper quarter neurological screen. First, we will test the dermatomes for nerve root C1 to T1. Starting from nerve root C1, you test bilaterally the top of the head. And then for C2, you test the temporal and occipital regions of the head. For C3, you're going to test posterior cheek. For C4, you're going to test the top of the shoulder. For C5, you're going to test the mid-deltoid. For C6, you're going to test the lateral arm, forearm, and the radial side of the hand. For C7, you're going to test the middle finger. For C8, you're going to test the medial forearm and ulnar side of the hand. And for T1, you're going to test the medial elbow.
Now we'll be testing the myotomes for nerve root C1 to T1, and that tests the muscle innervations. C1 and C2 is forward neck flexion. C3 is lateral neck flexion. C4 is a shoulder shrug. C5 is shoulder abduction. C6 is elbow flexion and wrist extension. C7 is elbow extension and wrist flexion. C8 is thumb extension and ulnar deviation, and T1 is finger abduction. To test myotomes C1 and C2, I'm going to apply a resistance while she brings her chin to her chest. To test the myotome C3, I'm going to apply resistance as she laterally flexes her neck. The C4 myotome is a shoulder shrug. As I apply resistance, she's going to shrug her shoulders. Myotome C5 is shoulder abduction. As she abducts her shoulder, I'm going to apply resistance. The C6 myotome is elbow flexion and wrist extension. So I'm going to apply resistance as she flexes her elbows. And now extend her wrists. The C7 myotome is elbow extension and wrist flexion. So she's going to extend her elbow against my resistance. And flex her wrists. The C8 myotome is ulnar deviation and thumb extension. So as she's going to push her thumb out against my resistance and then ulnar deviate against my resistance. T1 myotome is finger abduction. She's going to abduct her fingers and I'm going to apply resistance.
Now we will be testing the deep tendon reflexes for the upper quarter for C5, C6, C7. To test the C5 reflex, you're going to test the biceps tendon. To test the C6 reflex, you're going to test the brachioradialis. To test the C7 reflex, you're going to test the triceps tendon. Relax for me. When testing deep tendon reflexes, a grading scale of 0 to 4 is used. 0 being an absent reflex, 1 being hyporeflexive, 2 being a normal reflex, 3 being hyperreflexive, and 4 being hyperreflexive with clonus.